読売中高生新聞の読者の皆様、こんにちは。My name is Zain Ritchie, and I'm an associate professor at Josei University in the Contemporary Policy Sciences. Nice to meet you. Today we'll be having a lecture from some of my students on welfare systems from around the world. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much. Let's start our class today. So today we're going to be talking about welfare systems around the world, in particular New Zealand, America, United States, and Japan. First, I'm just going to introduce a little bit about what welfare is, the meaning of welfare, and I'm going to briefly then discuss the history and present welfare. And third, we're going to then discuss New Zealand, America, and Japanese medical systems. Have a comparison between the three from the students, right? So the students will be doing 3, and then 4. Number 4 will be then having some Q&A from the students. So first, so interesting question, what is welfare? Welfare is happiness, prosperity, and good health, right, for people, right? So we want to live healthy, long lives, right? And everyone wants to be happy, right? So that's welfare, right? It's basically what welfare is, right? And all of us have needs, right? So we all have needs that we want to be met, right? And for example, we need food because without food we would not survive, right? We need housing or shelter, right? Without a house in winter it's too cold and you have many problems, right? And then we need money, right? And we also need love, right? Etc., right? So is it possible for you to meet all these needs by yourself? I don't think so, right? So sometimes we need help to meet some of our needs, right? Especially the basic needs, right? So we're not often able to meet these needs by ourselves, right? So just a very brief mention about welfare from the past moving to the present. In the past, welfare was considered a family affair, right? So, because in the past, we used to live in extended families, for example, right? So families would take care of each other, right? However, families couldn't always cope, right? So sometimes it's very difficult for families to take care of each other, right? And so as a result of that, in the past, many people lived very difficult lives, right? So life was very difficult, right? So the average age, for example, around 1900s, for example, even, was only about 45 years old in Europe, right? For example, right? In response to this, starting at the end of the 19th century, right, and gathering pace in the 20th century, governments took it upon themselves to become interested in promoting better societies, right? So governments and companies took upon the responsibility for welfare of their citizens, right? So these are some of the services and support that we have these days, right? We have economic services and support, right? We have medical services and support. We have things like education, right? We have housing support in some countries. We have support if you lose your job. So now I'm going to move on to the comparison between the healthcare systems in America, New Zealand, and Japan. And the students are going to do this, right?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Thank you. I will talk about difference and features of healthcare system. Let's get started. First, I talk about American healthcare system. I have 2 questions. First, what percentage is this?
8.
What do you think?
American without healthcare.
That's right.
Yeah.
This percentage is percentage of Americans not insured. 28.1 million people. I have one more question. What percentage is this?
Percentage of people bankrupt in the United States.
Excellent. Percentage of people who self-bankrupt in expensive medical care. Rank of insurance system of development countries. The lowest performer, the United States. Why is American healthcare system low? Because medical expenses are high. 2. There is no obligation to join insurance. Self-responsibility. There is a public medical insurance system, but conditional.
I'll introduce Japan healthcare system. As you know, Japan healthcare system has good point and bad point. First, I'll introduce good point. Patients can choose any doctor, and hospital has high quality, and you can spend enough time in hospital, and maternity care is good. Next, I'll introduce bad point. In Japan, not enough doctor, and cost might be expensive.
I will talk about New Zealand healthcare system. New Zealand has GP. This means is home doctors. New Zealand healthcare system is very different from Japan. GP has not only New Zealand but also US and Canada. For example, whatever sick it is, they see a doctor at GP, like internal medicine and surgery and eye doctor and others. But dentist is not covered. GP is registration system and it is not to need reservation. So GP problem that it is a wrong way. There are two types of hospital in New Zealand, private and public. Long-time visitors and own permanent residents don't have to pay for public hospital. Medical fee is free, but it is too difficult to reserve at public hospital because there are not many doctors than private hospital. On the other hand, private hospital is everyone have to pay all. If they need to see a specialist doctors, they pay more than $100. Finally, I recommend to buy private insurance whenever you will go to abroad. And when you will go to New Zealand, please take care of the medical expenses.
This graph is comparing three countries' healthcare system. For example, copay is New Zealand, $15. Japan is half employer. USA is depending on insurance. Do you have any question? Mr. Yamamoto.
Which of three countries' system will you choose? And please tell me the reason.
Thank you. I think that Japanese healthcare system is the best. There are two reasons. First, Japanese insurance cost is cheap. Second, Japanese government is solid.
How do you want Japanese healthcare to be in the future?
We should try to keep good healthcare system and reduce burden on people. And government should not increase medical crime.
Thank you.
So, thank you very much for your nice presentation. And you introduced us to the three healthcare systems or medical care systems in New Zealand, Japan, and the United States. And all three of them have their strong points and weak points. And so I think for a final point, it's like in Japan, I think that everyone in Japan should think about the future of your medical care system because there are many issues, right, that you have especially due to things like the falling population, for example, falling taxes. And so how are you going to pay for that in the future? There are many things for you to think about. And you can do that by comparing it to other countries' medical care systems. Right? So thank you very much, and there is much food for thought. I hope that you enjoyed the lecture and you could learn a little bit about some different medical systems in New Zealand, Japan, and the United States. And of course, there's no perfect system, and you will have to decide for yourself which one is best. But I hope that this lecture was of use to you, and it makes you think about the future of medical care in Japan. 城西大学にこんな勉強もできますんで、ぜひとも一度起こしてみてて、で気に入ったらもうぜひとも城西大学に来ていただきたいなと思います。よろしくお願いします。